You're 19, sitting in your dorm room at 2:47 a.m., staring at your laptop screen like it holds the secrets of the universe. The glow burns your retinas, but you can't look away. Your roommate's snoring sounds like a chainsaw in the background, but all you hear is the click, click, click of virtual chips cascading across digital felt. You started 3 hours ago with $50. Now there's $847 in your account. Your hands shake as you light another cigarette. When did you start smoking? And refresh the cash out page just to see those numbers again. $847. More than you made working retail all summer. More than your dad sends for textbooks. More than you've ever seen in one place with your name on it. The rush hits you like mainlined caffeine. Your heart hammers against your ribs so hard, you wonder if cardiac arrest feels this good. This isn't luck. You can feel it in your bones. You read that last opponent like a children's book. Saw through his bluff when he bet big on the river with nothing but jack high and a prayer. You were born for this. The thought slides through your mind like warm honey, sticky and sweet and impossible to shake. While your classmates are getting wasted on cheap beer and chasing girls who'll forget their names by graduation, you found something real. Something that pays. Something that makes sense in a world that usually doesn't. You close your textbooks without opening them. Probability and statistics can wait. You've got more important math to learn. Pot odds, implied odds, the beautiful, brutal arithmetic of reading souls across a poker table. Your phone buzzes. A text from your mom asking how midterms went. You type back great without taking your eyes off the screen. She wouldn't understand anyway. Nobody would. They still think poker is gambling, still think it's pure chance and dirty money. They don't see what you see. They don't feel the electric satisfaction of making the right fold, of knowing that your opponent is bluffing before they even realize it themselves. They don't understand that this isn't gambling. This is chess with money. This is war with cards. This is everything you've been looking for, wrapped up in 52 pieces of cardboard and infinite possibility. You queue up another tournament. The buy-in is higher this time. $215 instead of the $55 donkfests you've been crushing. But why not? You're up $800. House money, right? Might as well see how deep this rabbit hole goes. The first hand is dealt. Ace-king suited in the big blind. You look at those cards and feel destiny staring back at you through the pixels. This is just the beginning. You can feel it in every atom of your being. You're going to be one of the greats. One of those legends who turns cardboard into empire, who builds castles out of calculated risk and reads. You have no idea that you just sold your soul to a game that doesn't love you back. No clue that poker's about to become your master, your mistress, your religion, and your executioner all rolled into one. But right now, in this moment, with fresh money in your account and infinite possibilities stretching out before you like an open highway, you feel like a god among mortals. You raise. 2 years later, you're living in a one-bedroom apartment that smells like stale pizza and broken dreams. The walls are bare except for a graph tracking your monthly winnings, when there are any. Red months outnumber the green ones now, but you tell yourself that's just variance. Poker's a long-term game. You're thinking in years, not months. You wake up at 3 p.m. because that's when your day starts. Real people have morning coffee. You have Red Bull and the crushing weight of knowing you need to win $200 today just to make rent. Your laptop sits open on a folding table that doubles as your dining room, office, and altar to the poker gods who seem increasingly deaf to your prayers. The grind starts with checking overnight results from the tournaments you late registered at 4 a.m. Busted, busted, busted. A min cash that barely covers the buy-ins. Your roll is bleeding out like a stuck pig, but you've got a system. You always have a system. Today's system involves playing 6 tables at once, grinding $25 sit and goes until your eyes bleed. Click fold, click raise, click fold. Your wrist aches from repetitive motion, but stopping isn't an option. Winners don't take breaks. Winners push through the pain. You used to think about poker. Now poker thinks through you. Every conversation becomes pot odds. Every human interaction gets filtered through game theory. When your sister calls to ask why you missed Thanksgiving, You calculate whether the emotional equity of family time is worth the lost EV of holiday tournaments when fish are drunk and throwing money around. You choose the tournaments. The coffee shop where you sometimes play has become your second home. The baristas know your order: large dark roast, no room for cream, side of existential dread. You commandeer a corner table and spread out like you own the place, running 6 max cash games while college kids complain about coursework. They have no idea what real problems look like. They don't know what it means to lose 3 months of rent in a single session because some recreational player called your all-in with Queen 10 offsuit and spiked 2 pair on the river. They don't understand the special kind of hell that is being card dead for 6 hours straight, while blinds eat your stack like termites in wood. Your friends stopped calling. Why wouldn't they? Every conversation becomes about poker. Every story becomes a bad beat story. You become the guy who shows up late, leaves early, and spends dinner calculating whether the group check split gives you the right odds to stay. But you're learning. God, are you learning? You devour every training video, every strategy article, every forum post about 3-bet ranges and river betting patterns. Your browser history looks like a doctoral thesis in applied psychology and mathematics. You know more about human nature at 22 than most people learn in a lifetime. The problem is that knowledge comes with a price. You can't unsee what you've seen, can't unfeel what you've felt. When you look at people now, you see tells, weakness, patterns. Everyone becomes a potential opponent. Every conversation becomes a hand to analyze. Your girlfriend, ex-girlfriend now, said you've changed. Said poker turned you into someone she doesn't recognize. Called you cold, calculating, emotionally unavailable. You wanted to explain that emotional unavailability is an asset at the tables, that caring too much about money is the fastest way to lose it, that poker teaches you to make optimal decisions based on logic, not feelings. She hung up before you could finish explaining. But that's fine. Winners make sacrifices. Poker demands everything, and you're finally ready to give it. The game is starting to make sense. The patterns are emerging from the chaos like constellations in a clear sky. You're on the verge of something big. You can feel it. You just need to run better. Catch a few breaks. Get your fair share of luck. Any day now. Your mother's voice cracks through the phone like it's traveling through water. She's asking when you're coming home for Christmas, but her words feel distant, filtered through the fog of your 18th consecutive hour at the tables. You're down $3,400 for the session and chasing harder than a bloodhound on a fresh scent. Can't make it this year, Mom. Big tournament series running. The lie tastes like copper pennies and instant ramen, your primary food groups now. Truth is, you can't afford the plane ticket. Can't afford to take 5 days away from the tables when your bankroll has shrunk to 3-figure territory and your rent check bounced last week. You hang up and immediately queue into another $500 tournament. It's a stupid move. Your bankroll management has gone from conservative to reckless to completely suicidal. But you can taste the comeback. It's sitting right there on the other side of this session, waiting for you to grab it. The apartment has become a cave. Blackout curtains block the sun because natural light feels foreign against your screens. Empty energy drink cans create a fortress around your setup. 12 monitors displaying poker tables, tracking software, chat windows full of other degenerates living the same nightmare in different time zones. Sleep comes in 3-hour chunks between tournament clusters. You dream in bet sizes and board textures. Wake up with your hand cramped around a computer mouse, neck twisted like a pretzel, back screaming from sitting in a $40 office chair for sessions that stretch longer than most people's workdays. Your body is rebelling. 20 pounds heavier than when you started, with the pale, soft physique of someone who hasn't seen sunlight or a gym in months. Your shoulders stay permanently hunched from leaning into monitors. Your eyes burn constantly from screen time. Headaches have become your baseline normal. But the worst part isn't physical. It's watching yourself disappear. You used to be funny. Remember that? People liked being around you. You had interests beyond pot odds and tournament structures. You read books, watched movies, gave a damn about things that weren't directly related to your win rate. Now you're a ghost haunting your own life. Social invitations stop coming, because everyone knows you'll decline or show up and spend the entire time checking your phone for tournament updates. Dating apps remain untouched because explaining your job to normal people feels impossible. How do you tell someone you make money by psychologically dismantling strangers over the internet? Your family thinks you've lost your mind. Dad keeps forwarding job listings from his corporate buddies, complete with condescending messages about real careers and stable income. He doesn't understand that you've tasted freedom, that going back to a 9-to-5 would feel like voluntary imprisonment. What he also doesn't understand is that poker isn't freedom anymore. It's the most demanding master you've ever served. It dictates when you sleep, when you eat, who you talk to, where you go. Every decision gets filtered through poker considerations. Vacation? Can't leave during the Sunday majors. Relationship? Only if they understand you're married to the game first. You've sacrificed friendships on the altar of EV optimization. Missed funerals because they conflicted with tournament schedules. Skipped your college graduation because a whale was playing drunk in your regular cash game and leaving money on the table would have been criminal. The irony cuts deep. You got into poker for the money, but now money is just a way to keep score in a game that never ends. Win or lose, you'll be back tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Because poker doesn't just take your money when you lose, it takes your soul when you win. You refresh your account balance, down to $847, exactly what you had that first magical night 3 years ago. The symmetry would be poetic if it weren't so goddamn tragic. But there's always tomorrow, always another session, always another chance to get it all back. You queue up another tournament. 4:17 a.m. You're staring at a river decision that will either salvage your month or send you into freefall. $12,000 in the pot. Your opponent just shoved all in for $18,000 more. You have ace high and a read that's screaming bluff, but your hands won't stop shaking. This is it. This is the hand that defines everything. Win, and you're back in the game with breathing room and confidence restored. Lose, and you're selling your car to buy back into tournaments you used to consider beneath you. The timer ticks down. 27 seconds. 26, 25. Your chest feels like it's caving in. Sweat drips onto your mousepad despite the apartment being cold enough to hang meat. Every heartbeat sounds like thunder in your ears. This isn't poker anymore. This is Russian roulette with your entire future as the bullet. You click fold. Your opponent shows a bluff. Queen high. You would have won $30,000. Enough to stabilize everything, to stop grinding micro stakes like some desperate fish who doesn't know better. Something breaks inside you. Not dramatically, not like a bone snapping or glass shattering. More like a rubber band stretched too far for too long, finally giving up without fanfare. You close the poker client and sit in perfect silence, staring at your reflection in the black screen. When did you become this person? When did the kid who fell in love with the intellectual challenge of poker transform into this hollow-eyed creature who treats human beings like walking ATMs? When did every conversation become about expected value and every relationship become transactional? Your phone buzzes. Text from your brother. Haven't heard from you in 6 months. Everything okay? You start typing, yeah, just busy with work. Then delete it. Start typing, poker's been rough lately. Then delete that too. Finally settle on I'm fine and immediately hate yourself for the lie. You're not fine. You haven't been fine in years. You're a functional sociopath optimized for extracting money from people, living in a self-imposed isolation chamber sustained by caffeine and the fleeting dopamine hits of winning hands. The mirror in your bathroom tells the real story. Pale skin stretched over sharp bones, eyes with the flat, predatory look of someone who's forgotten how to interact without calculating angles. Hair that hasn't seen a professional cut since Obama was president. You look like a prisoner of war, except you're both the prisoner and the warden. When did you last feel genuine joy? Not the savage satisfaction of cracking someone's aces or the relief of booking a winning session, but actual human joy. When did you last laugh without it being at someone's misplay? When did you last care about another person's well-being without wondering if their tilt would make them easier to exploit? You used to have dreams beyond poker. Remember those? You wanted to travel, to write, to build something meaningful. Now your entire existence revolves around extracting maximum value from each decision in an endless series of meaningless hands against anonymous opponents you'll never meet. The worst part is the isolation. Not physical. You chose that. Emotional. You've trained yourself to suppress every feeling that might interfere with optimal play. Empathy is a leak. Compassion costs you money. Human connection creates bias that clouds your judgment. You've become the perfect poker player. A calculating machine devoid of the messy human emotions that make terrible poker players, but decent people. And it's killing you in slow motion, one hand at a time. The sun is rising outside your blackout curtains. Normal people are waking up, going to jobs where they interact with colleagues, contribute to something larger than themselves, come home to families who care whether they live or die. You fire up another tournament, because this is who you are now. This is what you chose. This is what you've become. And tomorrow, you'll sit down and do it all again. 10 years in, you're sitting in the same chair, playing the same game, grinding the same existence, except now your back has a permanent curve and your wrists require cortisone shots to function. The young lions in the poker forums call you a dinosaur. They're probably right. You've made the money. Jesus, have you made the money? 6 figures some years, 7 figures once, during a heater that felt like divine intervention. Bank accounts in different countries. Investment portfolios managed by people who don't ask what you do for a living because the money spends the same regardless. But wealth, you've learned, is just another prison with better amenities. Your parents are dead. Mom went first. Cancer that ate through her like poker ate through your soul. And you missed half her final weeks because the World Series was running and you'd already paid the buy-ins. Dad followed 18 months later, and you eulogized him between day 1A and day 1B of a tournament you didn't even cash. Standing at his grave, you realized they died believing you were wasting your life. And maybe they were right. The game evolved while you were busy becoming a machine. Kids with computer science degrees and solver software have turned poker into pure mathematics. The old school psychology and live reads that made you fall in love with the game? Ancient history. Now it's all about GTO play and balance and exploiting population tendencies identified by algorithms. You adapted because you had to. Learned the new language, bought the new software, studied the new theory. But somewhere in the translation, you lost the part of poker that made it feel alive. Now it's just work. Grinding, clicking buttons and printing money and dying inside one hand at a time. The young pros look at you with a mixture of respect and pity. Respect for the money you've won, pity for the life you've lived. They see poker as a stepping stone, build a bankroll, gain financial freedom, move on to bigger things. You see it as quicksand that's been slowly swallowing you for a decade. You've outlasted 3 generations of poker players, watched them come in bright-eyed and ambitious, make their money, and get out before the game could eat them alive. The smart ones anyway. The ones who remembered they were human beings first and poker players second. You forgot that distinction somewhere around year 4. The house you bought with poker money sits mostly empty, mansion-sized and museum quiet, filled with expensive furniture you never use and art you never look at. Success, it turns out, is just loneliness with better thread counts. Sometimes you walk through those empty rooms and wonder what you were trying to prove. To your parents, who never understood? To your friends, who stopped caring? To yourself, who got lost so long ago you can't remember what you were looking for in the first place. The truth settles around you like dust in an abandoned house. You won. You achieved everything you set out to achieve and more. You became one of the best poker players in the world, accumulated wealth beyond your wildest dreams, proved that a kid with no connections and no capital could build an empire out of pure skill and determination. And it cost you everything that makes life worth living. You log into your favorite poker site one more time. The lobby looks the same as it did 10 years ago. Different graphics, same predatory energy. Fresh fish swimming into the same nets that caught you a decade ago, convinced they'll be different, convinced they'll stay human while learning to hunt humans. You watch them for a while, these eager young players with their dreams and delusions. Part of you wants to warn them, wants to tell them that poker's promises are all true. It really will give you freedom, wealth, and the intoxicating power of reading souls across a table. It just won't let you keep the soul you started with. You close the laptop and walk outside. The sun feels foreign against your skin, like you're an alien visiting Earth for the first time. Somewhere in the distance, people are living actual lives. Messy, complicated, beautiful human lives, full of love and loss and everything that makes existence meaningful. You had a chance at that once. Before the cards. Before the money. Before you learned that winning everything could cost you everything worth keeping. The house is quiet when you return. Always quiet. Winners, it turns out, don't get happy endings. They just get what they deserve. This is the reality they don't show you in poker movies or training videos. The hidden cost of optimizing yourself for exploitation. If this story resonates with you, if you recognize yourself in these words, hit that subscribe button on Grindflix. Leave a comment sharing your own poker journey, the prices you've paid, and the lessons you've learned. Because sometimes the most valuable pot you can win is understanding when to fold the whole damn game.